What makes you a better audio engineer over someone else? Now, this one's an interesting question, and there's many reasons. But what it all comes down to, and this is exactly what I think it comes down to, is, let's say for argument's sake we've got two people who, like me and someone else, right? Both skilled in the art of mixing, in the art of mastering, right? We both have exactly the same plugins. We both work in exactly the same way, and if we were to limit ourselves to, right, you can use these 10 plugins, I can use these 10 plugins, and that's all we can use, and we both have exactly the same knowledge, I will get a better end result than a lot of other engineers. And the reason for that being is the room that I work in and the equipment that I use. Now, people might think a door controller like the Avid S4, show you behind me, this one. Now, the thing with something like that is it's technically not processing sound in any way, shape or form. So you're not actually getting, the console doesn't have a sound. So that's not what you're gaining from it. What you are gaining from it is the fact that the way I can use the console and use the plugins, compared to someone who's using a mouse and keyboard, I can fly around a plugin for, let's say for instance, I'm on a plugin for 2 minutes. I'm bang, 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 and I'm using that plugin. I'm using it so kind of intuitively and just creating this sound that is just instant. Whereas someone who's on a mouse and a keyboard, if they're sat there for 2 minutes on a plugin, they're doing 10 times less than what I would be doing, because I'm so quick on a console. I have it instant. It's like having every piece of software or plugin as a piece of hardware. I can just literally dial in straight away. I'm hands-on. So things like that massively have a huge factor. The other thing is that, you know, I'm sitting in one of the best sounding rooms, in my opinion, in the world. I've been in hundreds of different Atmos studios, stereo studios, all over the place, right? And they're never, look, I'm not being biased towards my room, but I had the opportunity where, like, you know, I had the opportunity to kind of create my dream studio. This was it. So by doing that, I've created this room that is incredible. It's all Trinnov optimized. What I hear is so perfect that it's very hard for someone who isn't Trinnov optimized or doesn't have this room or doesn't have these speakers to get a sound anywhere close. Because I always say it's like I'm working in HD. My ears can hear every frequency. I can hear everything. Whereas the competitor, for instance, this other guy who we're kind of referencing in this video, he's sitting there with cotton buds in his ears because he's lacking in terms of he hasn't got this room. He's not Trinnov optimized. So I know 100% everything that I hear is so bang on perfect. I make the right decisions, and that ultimately ends with the results of a better sound, because it's I'm mixing to an accurate sound rather than mixing something like, oh, let's say that, for instance, this is something I see all the time, is that I go into these studios and I listen to the low end of the bass, and you know, the bass is like 6 dB too loud or something. So everybody's undercompensating for a kick drum, for instance. The kick drum ends up, it's not loud enough, or there's not enough weight in the low end because it's overcompensated in the speakers. So things like that play a massive part. All the analog equipment around me for mastering, this all plays a huge part. If you know, I can, by having all this equipment, it gives me a unique sound. By having this chain set up, nobody else has this chain. This is my chain. This is set up to be used in my own unique way. And that's why my end result, being the mix, gets mastered in a totally unique way, even unique compared to Studio A. This studio produces its own sound. And all these things, for me, factor in to why I can get a better sound than someone else, for instance. So I mean, yeah, to really kind of answer this question of why can I get a better sound than someone else, it all comes down to, if we take knowledge and expertise out of the equation, it all comes down to the equipment, the room, how well I can hear what is actually being played to me.